A lot of cis women share this sentiment, and I do want to break it down. This may be uncomfortable to sit through and to listen to, and I think that's why it's important that we do this. Feeling like trans people are a threat to you in a space like a bathroom or a locker room is actually a version of internalized misogyny.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to get into another one of these people who think they are trans. I mean, I don't want to call it grifter or whatever, but they're not trans. So let's just say that first. The misogyny is insane. But of course, before I get into that, thanks for liking, subscribing, really helping me get this channel built. You guys champion me like this is awesome. Thank you. I do appreciate it so much. So let's just get right into this because I got like, I found so many that I had to figure out which ones to pick. This dude is insane. He likes to hear himself talk. I mean, you know, you're going to have to thank me for spending a little time because I couldn't even believe some of the stuff this person was saying. So with that, let me bring up this first one.
I mean, the good news for you is that there were no white men in that video, so you weren't hearing feminism from a white man. Oh, interesting. Wow. I kind of did like I didn't realize this.
Wow, dude.
I didn't fill in my wings. It still looks kind of good, though. That is not the point. The point was, what you're saying is not that you don't want to hear feminism from a white man. It's that you don't want to be challenged to conceptualize the outside of binary, and you don't want to learn something from someone who you deem is less than you. And you deem me a trans person who has a very distinct and very clear marginalized version of femininity and a very clear, distinct, specific, unique experience of womanhood. You don't want to be challenged to think that I could add something to the conversation because that might mean that you wouldn't be centered in the conversation. That might mean that feminism would have to shift to be intersectional and include transgender people in the same way that it needs to include Black people, people of color, indigenous people, disabled people.
Okay, hold on. So let me just say straight out the gate, misogyny, because you are a white dude. Okay, I don't care if your identity is trans. How it's trans, I don't know, because are you even making an effort? You'll see through the whole things, he loves to throw all the same words out, but he just places them in different spaces. Number one. Number two, he's talking to a woman. He's actually talking to a woman like this, okay? He's telling a woman like she's the one who's got to get it together and she's the one who doesn't want to accept and she's the one, as opposed to going, okay, wait a minute here. How can we try to figure out how to live in these spaces together? You're going to see it through the whole thing, the same theme from this guy. And I'm not going to call him a woman because he's not a woman, and I don't like his misogyny, and I don't like his idea of what he thinks he can tell everybody else how to recenter their trauma and recenter this. It's the same words these people use over and over again. It's so boring and dumb, but I'm calling you out, James, because for some reason you think you know more than everybody else, and I just can't even believe the way you talk to women. So there's that. He didn't like to be called a white man because they're like, dude, we don't want to hear from a white man what feminism is. And then he could not handle that one. Okay, so let's get on to the next one here.
I shared not long ago that I'm microdosing hormone replacement therapy, and that's been really affirming for me as a non-binary person pursuing a non-binary transition. And then I got a bunch of questions in my DMs about it, so I hope this video answers a lot of them. Microdosing is actually not as like new and innovative as I thought it was. I thought it was like on the cutting edge of something that's actually been happening for years. And the reason we don't know as much about it is because HRT is historically prescribed on a binary, whether you're transmasculine or transfeminine. This means that the baseline recommended prescriptions that doctors, nurses, endocrinologists are using is based off of a binary transition. Now, one of the main...
So here you go. First off, everything is about binary, first off. Secondly, microdosing hormones says it all. And exactly is the reason why he still looks like a dude with a 5 o'clock shadow. Okay, because he's microdosing, because he's too scared to commit to the transition. This way, if he changes his mind, he hasn't done too much damage because he doesn't look like anything has changed in this guy. He still looks like a dude. He's just putting makeup on and putting nails on. Microdosing, if you don't know what that is, he's tiny. He's not doing the regular amount of hormones that an actual transsexual person does who wants to commit to the transition to go from looking like a man to a woman or a woman to a man. Microdosing is it's new because you're creating a new space. You're not trans. You even said it. You said you're non-binary. Non-binary is not trans. Just so you know, James, I am gatekeeping. So you can call me a gatekeeper all you want. I'm gatekeeping. This one's really going to piss you off.
A lot of cis women share this sentiment, and I do want to break it down. This may be uncomfortable to sit through and to listen to, and I think that's why it's important that we do this. Feeling like trans people are a threat to you in a space like a bathroom or a locker room is actually a version of internalized misogyny, which is not necessarily your fault because it's impossible to divorce our socialization from the prevalence of patriarchy, but it also does mean it's our responsibility to unlearn it for the safety of fellow women, especially trans women. In my experience as a gender educator, the majority of cis women who have experienced violence at the hands of men or just patriarchy or living in today's world see anything that codes to them as remotely masculine, male, etc. and fear it, which in many ways is a survival tactic that makes sense. The difference is when we code trans people as the wrong gender, we're actually doing them way more a disservice than we are protecting ourselves because you're ostracizing and further alienating trans people. The false media narrative and trope around trans people is that we are predators that are tricking people into thinking that we're something that we're not, which is of course not true. Watch the documentary Disclosure on Netflix if you want more on that.
No.
So being uncomfortable with trans people in your space is something that you were taught, and you can unlearn that. It's important to recognize that we can't tell someone's gender by their presentation, by their genitals, by the way that they look. All of that can be changed. All of that is arbitrary.
Oh my God, the misogyny that comes out of this dude is insane. He's basically telling you women, get over it. Sorry that you don't like us in your space. That's actually what he's saying. He's saying tough. That's how it is. You have to unlearn your transphobia. What are you talking about, dude? That is such blatant, total misogyny. I am just blown away that you like to hear yourself talk all again, the same words, these ideas coded. What's coded? And also all this idea that other people have to unlearn their behavior for a tiny little group of people where, who knows, in 5 years, you might just change your mind because you're microdosing hormones. What? Like, first off, if a woman says we're not comfortable with you in their toilet, don't go. Let me just give you a little tidbit here. I've been using the men's room for a long ass time, but because you people have completely destroyed the way us transsexual people have coexisted in the world, I now don't feel always comfortable going in the men's room anymore. So you know what? If there's another space like a gender, I'll go there. Just so that there's no problems. So what are you doing? Why can't you do the same thing I'm doing? And I pass. Nobody would ever know that I was a woman, okay? Or a female, whatever you want to call it. So no, dude, it doesn't work that way. You're a dude who wants to go into women's spaces. Respect it. I know I'm yelling, but the whole thing makes me so disgusted.
I just don't understand how gay men can think this way because I don't know where you learned your history. This is the same rhetoric that has been used historically to bar gay men and all queer people from their human rights. There's this disturbing phenomenon where queer people, and I notice this in gay men specifically, will cross the threshold into acceptance by heteronormative society by and large, and then they will abandon everybody else that has not yet crossed that threshold. Like, okay, traitor. I would say overall, right now, it is more acceptable than ever to be a gay man. And so what happens is then we have another wave coming along of trans liberation. We are not in the gay rights era anymore. We are in the trans liberation era because our legislators are no longer attacking gay people specifically. They're attacking transgender people and transgender youth specifically. This is different than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. But 20, 30, 40 years ago, there were anti-gay politicians that were making laws to bar gay.
Okay, buddy. It's because gay men actually fought for their rights to exist. And it's not the same thing to be a gay person and to be a trans person. By the way, number 3, there are way more gay people out there than there are trans people, okay? Historically, trans people are a very small group of people. They still are. And the reason why trans youth are under attack is because you, which I saw in some of your other videos, are promoting puberty blockers for trans kids and saying they're safe and reversible. You're a liar. You're not doing your homework, okay? You are actually putting the reason why these trans bills are existing and the reason why people are attacking trans people is because you're lying about what it means to be trans and putting children at risk for transitioning in a situation that is irreversible. So start taking some responsibility for how you are creating a false narrative around what trans is. And gay men are sick of you. And instead of you listening to why, they don't want to be associated with you. Instead, you have to turn it around on them and call them a traitor. I mean, wow, really? You're such a hypocrite, dude. You are the biggest hypocrite. You try to sound like you're so smart, using all the same words, calling everybody queer. Gay men don't want to be called queer, by the way, okay? Learn your history about queer. Okay, so now, after I just did that gay man one, check this out.
Yes, I did go to the biggest gay sex party in New York City on the Saturday night of Pride because I'm gonna enjoy my bun life. I said, we're going big or going home, and we went big and now we're going home. And since you asked, I really did do well tonight. I PR'd, as the dudes would say, had a personal record. Real talk for a second. I have been noticing that these spaces, these like gay male spaces that I used to thrive in, feel very different to me now that I'm medically transitioning. I used to be able to just fit in quite nicely, and I felt like I could just kind of tuck away all the things about me that were non-binary and femme presenting in order to be desirable in those spaces. And I think a lot of that was because I just didn't want to give up being desired by men, and that's the way that I have historically been desired by men. While gender is not dictated by your genitals, when you're standing naked in like a loft in Midtown with a bunch of dudes, like people's first instinct is not, that's a non-binary. Now it's different, like.
Okay, see what I mean? This dude is a hypocrite. First off, what are you doing at a gay man sex party if you're not a gay man anymore? Okay, why are you going into other people's spaces? You might be welcome there, but I don't think so. I actually don't think so. Because the one before that, gay men were like, what are you doing, dude? Leave us alone. We don't want to be associated with you. And there you go to a gay man sex party. Are you kidding me? And then talking about your non-binary. You are all over the place, dude. I think it's that thing, you want your cake and eat it too. Like, what are you? What are you doing? You look like a dude. So now I see how you look right now. You don't look like a feminine person. You look like a dude. So what are you, switching back and forth, but pretending that you're transitioning? I see you. I see right through you. I see your hypocrisy. I see your co-opting of the trans space. Okay, I don't care if you're non-binary, queer, whatever. Stay over there then. Stop calling yourself trans because you're not trans. And I really do think you're a gay man, because why are you going to gay man sex parties? Feels to me like he has a little bit of internalized homophobia, because you all like to say, I have internalized transphobia. But dude, I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know who you think you are. I don't know why you have to keep putting all this rhetoric out there. You're not helping this community in any way, shape, or form. And I'm so sick and tired of all you non-binary trans dudes, okay, who think you're women and can talk down to women and elders in the community and keep rewriting our history. I'm done. I'm over it. Okay, I'm over it. I'm calling you all out. So I'll leave you with this. Tired of it. Nope, ain't gonna happen anymore. It's the reason why people are not liking trans people much anymore. I worked very hard alongside of a lot of my elders to get the world to see us in a way that we just could coexist with you. And now we have these new people who have all these platforms and are teaching young people lies and how to be trans at 12 years old. And I won't stand for it anymore. So with that, I want to thank you so much for helping me to build this channel and helping me to create these videos to get out and get the truth out there, okay? Because the truth matters. The truth matters not only to you, but it also matters to me. And that's how you and I can coexist in this world together. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you again. I really do appreciate you very much.